The colony simulator genre has for too long been dominated by humans and their horrible work ethics. It is time for our beaver overlords to rise up and build a modern dam metropolis that will put New York City underwater. Welcome back to Drnkie Indie, everybody. My name is Drnkie, and this is our weekly indie review, Buy or Skip. Our goal here on Buy or Skip is that by the end of this video, you will have my opinion on enough information to know if you should buy or skip any given game. If you enjoyed this review and find it helpful while you're watching it, let us know down in the comment section below. And if you're new here to Drnkie Indie, don't forget to subscribe and become part of our community. This is Timberborn, and here's my early access review. The Timberborn demo was released at the beginning of February from the developer Machinistry. This is a pre-early access demo of the game that you can pick up on Steam. And a reminder, a big way to support these indie games and the developers is to make sure you stick the game on your Steam wishlist. So if you're picking up this demo, make sure you wishlist the game at the same time. This makes you like the raddest of people out there. Our first category, story. So you're sitting there at home watching this YouTube video and you're wondering to yourself, how the hell is there a world in which beavers can build with such grand visions and not catch the curious eyes of us humans? How would we even let this happen to ourselves? This is where we find the story of Timberborn. Humanity has laid waste to the earth, turning it into an almost barren waste, something that none of us ever saw coming, and with no way to survive this, we died off. We're just gone. But in our place, the earth's true inheritor, the beaver, has risen up. It's evolved. Nay, it has transcended into its rightful place atop the glorious log-built throne on the hill. From here, our colony story is written on how successfully we navigate the trials of drought, food storage, and overpopulation in a delicate dance of beaver balance. How short your colony dies off, or how high they ascend into beaver den, is wholly written by your stewardship. I love the tiny setup for this world in Timberborn. It's everything that I'm looking for out of a colony sim. It's not too much, it's not too little. It's just perfect for me to suspend any type of disbelief I have and become fully invested in my tiny beaver colony. Up next, graphics. The biggest word that comes to mind in this game is charming. From the moment you load up Timberborn and start your colony and you zoom in on your little beaver inhabitants, you'll be overcome with nothing but an absolute charming experience. Every beaver that calls your little plot of land home is adorable, and you can see the love that was placed into their creation. The colors in this world are all warm and full, but they never feel overbearing on you. This is every photograph postcard you've ever been sent from somebody vacationing in Canada. It's glorious, filled with bacon and rivers of syrup. All of the buildings have this great uniqueness to them. Most of them will have functioning gears and levers that all make this world come to life. Your beaver city will never feel like it's not alive the entire time that you're playing it, and it's really fun for the amount of hours that you're actually going to spend in this. It's always alive and something's always going on. I love it. I love the graphics in this demo from the top to the bottom. There is nothing that feels out of place, and I just want to jump back in and see more even while I'm writing this review. Our funnest category, gameplay. Being a colony simulator, you should recognize up front that there is a challenge ahead of you. As it is a demo of its early access, this game does feel rough around the edges and does not have the in-depth tutorials to bridge that gap. But with some stubbornness, you should be able to figure out all the odds and ends of this game and make the game work within about an hour of playing. I played through the opening about 3 or 4 times before I really felt like I had a grasp on just how the mechanics of this game were working and what I would need to know how to survive. Once you do have these mechanics figured out, that's not to say that you won't be facing an extremely brutal game, because you will. The dry season is always coming up and it's punishing. If you're not ready and you're not stocked up with food and water, it's really immediately felt and your game will just fall apart in a few minutes. The systems that are built around you in this game do become very rewarding once you make it a little bit deeper into the game. Understanding just how you can string along storage units and worker buildings and homes to expand your city to make it a very efficient and effective map, everything really just starts to open up to you as a player. But the map really does become limited and you really can't spread out. You need to spread up, in a word. With a system that the developer describes as vertical architecture, you will unlock what to me is one of the funnest aspects of Timberborn. Certain buildings are classified as sturdy, and it is with these that you can build the foundations for larger, more modular structures that are only as unique as your creativity will allow you to be. In my build, I was designing housing units that stack on top of each other that also contain self-sustaining things like a water supply source and some farmland around it. Everything just kind of felt like it was tucked in nicely, and I loved it. With this being a demo and early access, there are still plenty of features and different beaver factions that are coming along that aren't available to you yet. But with what they have now, you'll be kept busy for hours of gameplay. My only gripe in the gameplay department, besides, just kind of the how steep it is to learn what's going on in the game, will probably be how long it kind of takes to ramp up and make your city kind of start flowing. I wish that beginning part was a little bit faster. Moving on, sound. Timberborn has done something extremely special with the soundtrack. There is this charming childlike feelings in movies from the 90s and the early 2000s that I feel has been shoved into this nostalgia box that's locked and never to be opened for anything new. Think kind of like old Spielberg movies such as like Indiana Jones or even the Home Alone movies, right? Timberborn has been able to capture that sound and it's absolutely magical. There are times when I just wish the soundtrack could go on and on even after the game is off and I haven't been playing it for a little bit. When it comes to the sound effects, everything just kind of fits exactly how it should in this game. It's spot on. If you're like me and you love building simulation type of games simply for the sound of plunking that building down or putting that pathway there, then Timberborn will not leave you disappointed. Even in early access, this demo for Timberborn turns in a great sound design with a soundtrack that is above and beyond. Our final category, replayability. At the time of writing this early access review, I'm about 11 hours into this game. I've had to restart my village about 4 times because I'm absolutely horrible at not starving my beavers to death and I feel terrible about it. Please don't show up in my mentions for how many beavers I've killed in this game. I feel really bad about it. But even with this, I'm still awfully and deeply addicted to the game. The punishing difficulty of this game is actually one of the things that keeps me coming back to replay it. It's almost like the Dark Souls of colony simulators, right? Every time I do, I'm thinking of a new way to innovate and a new way to lay my city out just so I can survive one season longer. And the only end in how much you can do in this game is limited by your creativity. Everything you see here is truly yours to control, from how high you build up on top of a hilltop and how high you stack your buildings, to kind of how you reroute entire rivers to meet your needs. And that's just on this one map. There's a map editor in this game that you can design all new, all different types of challenges to achieve in this game. The possibilities are just simply endless. This demo only has me more excited for how much more this game is going to bring on its release and how many more unique builds and kind of beaver types there's going to be and just all the stuff that is going to be there for me to discover over and over again. Buy or skip, Timberborn. So here we are again at the awkward time in this review series where I have to give my suggestion on if you should buy or skip something that is out there for free for you. It's a little weird, honestly. But long story short, Timberborn is an extremely charming and brutal colony simulator that does a better job at making me care about the deaths of my citizens than any human-based colony sim I've ever played. Its demo is something that you should absolutely pick up from Steam and give it a test drive. It will not let you down. Oh, and whitelist is on Steam. Whitelist it. Alright everyone, that is buy or skip for this week. Thank you so much for checking in on our Timberborn review of its early access demo. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you pick this game up. I highly recommend it. If you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, make sure you let us know down below in the comments. Or if it didn't help out, you can let us know down there too. That's fine. That's fine. Also subscribe here to the channel if you're new. And with that, I'll see you guys next week for buy or skip on next Saturday. Bye everybody.